Well, this breaking input is also relevant to Kunal Kamra's case that has now been escalated. FIR has been registered against the comedian Kunal Kamra at the MIDC police station in Mumbai. These are the latest inputs that we're tracking from the ground, where now an FIR has been registered against the comedian Kunal Kamra at the MIDC police station in Mumbai. Well, joining us on the broadcast is our colleague Yasha for a better perspective into the entire situation. Good morning, Yasha. Yasha, what specific charges have been levelled against Kunal Kamra in this FIR and what are the implications?
This very FIR has been filed. It was filed by one of the Shiv Sena leaders, that is Murgi Patel. It's filed at MIDC police station, wherein he's asked Kunal Kamra to apologize in the next 2 days. In fact, this very statement in the stand-up gig of Kunal Kamra, which according to Shiv Sena leader, was demeaning the Deputy Chief Minister Eknath Shinde did not really go well, and it is where they said that it hurt the sentiments and also was defaming the party leader in itself. So yes, all of these have been important aspects that have been mentioned in the FIR. But apart from that, there's another FIR that's also been registered, Khar Police Station, which is against Shiv Sena leaders, including Rahul Kanal, particularly for vandalizing the place that is Hotel Uni Continental, where the gig, which is at Habitat, took place. So yes, as of now, 2 FIRs in place. Cops are investigating both of these FIRs. But apart from that, what's also important to note is that this has added the entire political color to the gig that took place, because there have been instances, particularly opposition leaders attacking both Kunal Kamra as well as also the leaders from Shiv Sena. Some from Shiv Sena, that is the Eknath Shinde faction, have also gone ahead and blamed Kunal Kamra for mocking the Deputy Chief Minister. But on the other hand, the opposition has gone ahead, questioned this very stance of Shiv Sena, saying this vandalism is taking place because they cannot take humor in itself. On the other hand, there have also been people, that is particularly from the opposition, stating that while there was violence in Nagpur, there have also been points raised to an extent saying that there is vandalism happening in Mumbai, and this is something that the government is not able to take control of. Yes.
Right, Yasha, you've rightly put it across. Yet another political showdown has erupted after a stand-up comedian has slurred remarks on the Deputy Chief Minister of Maharashtra. But we are getting yet another breaking input, which is also relevant to this entire case. Now, the IT committee, sources have told to CNN News 18 that the IT committee is likely to send summons to Kunal Kamra. Now, the IT committee's likely decision to send summons to Kunal Kamra comes on the heels of Allahabadiya Row, where the committee also took action against the YouTuber for allegedly promoting hate speech. What specific aspects of Kunal Kamra's content will they likely examine? We'll try and connect with a reporter to understand more on this. Now, joining us on the broadcast is our colleague Payal. A very good morning, Payal. Payal, what specific aspects of Kunal Kamra's content are likely to be examined by the IT committee?
Well, the IT committee will look into the fact that Kunal Kamra has made, in fact, remarks against the constitutional post. Not just like, Eknath Shinde, but he's also made comments on the likes of Narendra Modi, the Prime Minister of the country, and also on Yogi Adityanath, another Chief Minister, in fact, the Chief Minister of Uttar Pradesh as well. So all of these things have not gone down too well with a lot of people, essentially with society, for mockery being, exposed, the way in which, leaders have been spoken about. And of course, this is no comedy in any manner. That's at least what the committee is given to understand. Earlier also in the Ranveer Allahabadiya case, you remember, the way in which the things were discussed. And in fact, it spoke about, things against Indian value, and in fact, hinted to the fact it was not acceptable to society. The IT committee had taken a suo motu cognizance on the entire matter. That is something which remains to be seen, because, first, there will be a request to take this down from social media. That's going to be the request that's going to be made, just like the India's Got Latin show got, scrapped from the internet.
Indeed.
So multiple expectations are there from the members of the committee, who in fact feel that there is a line which needs to be drawn. There's a line between, make mockery and of course having fun, and something which might sound funny to a few people, including those people who are sitting there and clapping, when a leader was being mocked, whether it's Prime Minister Modi, whether it's Eknath Shinde or anybody else. It's actually not funny, because that's actually disrespecting the mandate of multiple people who elected them to power.
Right, Payal, while many argue on digital platforms that this is an attempt to curb the online free speech, will the committee's actions be seen as a forum of censorship? And if so, how might this impact the broader debate that is already ongoing on digital platforms?
whatever platform it is, of course, you do not have a specific guideline right now as far as the internet is concerned in terms of YouTube videos, etc. That is going to be on the workings. But having said that, there is freedom of expression to every citizen in this country. But there's freedom comes with a restrict. It comes with a restraint. You can't just be saying anything that you want really in the name of freedom. And if there is there a freedom of expression, in somebody who's making fun of somebody else, and the person has the freedom to in fact retort back as well. And that's the reason you've seen these FIRs really filed. But there's a need of the hour, Koina, repeatedly with people really saying that it is important to make sure that, there is, of course, some sort of a guideline which is issued and some sort of a rules which are in place to, in fact, make sure that YouTube and YouTubers are also, restrained and constrained in a manner that actually it should not go against society. It should not appear that it is, of course, vulgar in nature, it is abusive in nature, and multiple options are under consideration of the IT committee itself.
Right, Payal, you put it across very rightly. This development is also raising questions about the role of parliamentary committees in regulating online speech and the potential implications for free expression. While on the other hand, there has to be some level of responsibility that lies with the digital influencers. But Yasha continues to stay with us on the broadcast. Yasha, take us through more details, and especially in context of the FIR that has been filed against Kunal Kamra, and how is his team or he himself responding to it?
Absolutely. So far, in fact, this very FIR has been filed. Kunal Kamra has not gone ahead or commented on this very stand that is being taken by the Shiv Sena. So far, of course, FIRs have been filed at two different police stations. One is against Kunal Kamra at MIDC police station, on the other, and the other one is against the Shiv Sena leaders. So yes, absolutely. Of course, we'd have to wait to see what's the kind of response that comes in from the comedian, because like you were already discussing the case of India's Got Latent, where there have been instances of questions being raised or FIRs being filed against several comedians. So is the case now with this very with this gig as well. But here, of course, while India's Got Latent, there's investigation that's on by the Maharashtra Cyber Cell. But on the other hand, when it comes to this very FIR, FIR has just been filed late last night, so we'll have to wait to understand the responses coming in from the comedian. On the other hand, the point of investigation by the cops as well. So all of this is a point of investigation. What's important to note is that we'd have to wait for the story to develop further. Yes.
Right. Yasha, help us also understand, with this FIR coming into place, how will this impact Kunal Kamra's upcoming shows and events?
As of now, there's no restriction that's been put in force against Kunal Kamra when it comes to the shows or gigs for that matter. In fact, of course, like we again going parallel to India's Got Latent controversy, which took place in Mumbai just almost a month back. That was only as a part of potentially wherein there were several shows which were cancelled also as a part of the uproar over by the junta, is where the shows were cancelled. On the other hand, now here, when it comes to Kunal Kamra's case, as far as the FIRs are concerned, there's no restriction put in place against him for his shows to not be held further. Of course, Shiv Sena has not really taken it well that statements were made against Deputy Chief Minister Eknath Shinde. So this again could possibly be an instance wherein the political workforce could be overpowering Kunal Kamra's gigs. So which is where only once the FIR is filed, or if there's any kind of restriction is put in place by the judiciary, or for that matter by the police, is where one could really comment on this. Or in fact, for the matter, only if Kunal Kamra comes ahead and comments on what happens to his next show is where we get to know further details on this. Yes.
Right, Yasha, thank you so much for bringing all those details. Well, now joining us on the broadcast is Milind Deora of Shiv Sena MP. A very good morning, Mr. Deora. Mr. Deora, help us understand what are your largely views and how do you respond to Kunal Kamra's comments about Eknath Shinde, and do you think they constitute defamation?
Yeah, well, firstly, in my opinion, these are not, I personally believe that comedy is an integral part of any society. And but I don't consider this comedy. I think that these are vulgar statements. These are elitist, classist people who disguise themselves as comedians. And I essentially hired hands to do the bidding for someone who's facing a huge legal crisis, hire somebody like this to create a controversy, take attention away. So, I think that what this demonstrates is how disconnected these people are from electoral and political reality. Because the fact of the matter is that people, similarly, the opposition and the ecosystem similarly made fun of the Prime Minister for being somebody who was a chaiwala who was selling tea on the railway platform, and then that he could rise to become the leader of the largest democracy in the world. And that's the same situation with Mr. Eknath Shinde in Maharashtra. And the people of Maharashtra, the people of India have rejected these people electorally. But they're still disconnected from reality, and they choose to be disconnected from reality. So this is, in my opinion, that's one issue in terms of what they've said. I don't consider this comedy. I consider this a move to perpetuate entitled monarchists who practice monarchy but preach meritocracy and democracy.
Right, Mr. Deora, with that comment coming in from your end, should comedians also be, held to a different standard when it comes to free speech, and why or why not if, this is an attempt to muzzle free speech also?
There's no attempt to muzzle free speech. There's absolutely no attempt to muzzle free speech, and the law of the land which will take its course. But there is certainly in the realm of politics, in political theatre, you can certainly deduce the fact that certain people are working hand in glove with one particular party. It's very clear that UBT is working hand in glove with them. Today, who's raising this issue? UBT is raising this issue.
Indeed.
Why are they raising this issue? Because they were facing a legal case in the High Court, which is being heard as we speak.
But Mr. Deora, how do you justify the action of the Shiv Senics on the ground? Because on one hand, we are trying to...
This is something which happened last night. I also woke up to the news. I know what Mr. Shinde's views on these matters are. And he will also make a statement regarding this during the course of the day. But all I can say is the law will take its own course.
But do you really condemn what Shiv Senics have actually done on ground? It's words versus vandalism.
Well, look, firstly, if you're talking about what Aditya Thackeray has said, then I would ask this question first. I would first ask him to comment, to respond to what his party did to an actress called Kangana Ranaut when she criticized him and his party, what they did to one of your sister news channels when the news channel was holding them accountable, and what they did to a young boy called Samir Thakkar, who was arrested for 23 days for calling Aditya Thackeray a bird. For calling him a penguin, he was arrested.
Right.
So they have no right to talk about these issues of vandalism and law and order and these things. They should first let him respond to that, and I'll be very, very happy to counter that.
Right. Thank you so much, Mr. Deora, for speaking to CNN News 18 and sharing your thoughts on this entire controversy. Well, the IT committee is likely deciding to send summons to Kunal Kamra on the heels of the Allahabadiya row itself, where the committee also took action against the YouTuber for allegedly promoting hate speech time and again. Now, the committee's move also suggests growing scrutiny of the online content creators and their potential impact on social harmony as well. We just saw one particular example where Kunal Kamra, as a comedian, took a dig at the Deputy Chief Minister of Maharashtra, and which also led to a situation happening where vandalism was done on ground in Maharashtra itself. But this development also largely raises questions about the role of parliamentary committees in regulating online speech and the potential implications for free expressions. These are the latest inputs that we are tracking from the ground. Now, should comedians be largely held responsible to a different standard when it comes to free speech? We will try and connect with our reporters to get more updates on this. But right now, what we are getting info on is that Kunal Kamra's jokes on Eknath Shinde has sparked a massive controversy, which has also led to a political showdown on ground. Now, Yasha joins us back on the ground, from ground. Yasha, take us through more details that we are getting, especially the updates that we are getting on this report.
Absolutely. In fact, this fresh update coming in is that there has been 2 FIRs that have been registered so far when it comes to the case of the instance of the hate speech of Kunal Kamra. But apart from that, what's also important to note is that, of course, there's been vandalism on ground, and which is where there has been a threat also has been issued by the Shiv Sena leaders against Kunal Kamra. Here, of course, there have been protests that have been taking place at various locations. There have been Shiv Sena leaders who have gathered at various locations, particularly to express displeasure over the FIR, over the statement made by Kunal Kamra. So all of these are developing aspects of the story. And what's also important to note is that in the day today is where there's another protest that's expected to take place around 11:30, where Shiv Sena leaders will gather to express their displeasure over the statement that's been made by Kunal Kamra. So yes, the statement that he made as a part of his gig has not really gone well with several leaders in the Shiv Sena, and this is where now, while there's an FIR against Kunal Kamra, what's also important to note is that there's another FIR that's also registered against the Shiv Sena leaders for vandalism at Habitat yesterday.
Right, Yasha, thank you so much for bringing all those details. We'll continue to track the story as the day progresses and we get more updates on that. But Kamra's video has clearly ignited a firestorm of criticism and outrage amongst people, but has also raised important questions largely about the limits of free speech. We'll continue to track more. Right now, we're slipping into a very short break. Stay tuned. We'll be back.